All right, the language update. I know I made this resolution, if you've been following me, back in January, of course, on wanting to come up with a maintenance routine for learning languages. And it's been a challenge. I have done a few different things, not so successfully, and I'm still looking for a routine. In the meantime, I think you'll find this a little bit funny, but oddly enough, even though I wanted to work on maintaining French and Portuguese since I use Spanish at work and I use it with my grandparents frequently, I have been focusing on Polish and Korean. So with Polish, I took this course. I was testing out a course, and that spanned from, I think I originally started last year, but it did not finish until February. That's when I had my final Skype session with the teacher. And right after that, when I finished that, the next week was Langjam. And if you don't know what that is, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But it was a language challenge that I participated in. And then once that ended, then we were already in the third week of February, maybe like a week or two ago. And then I started doing Duolingo for Polish and Korean. Now, that doesn't mean that I have completely ignored French and Portuguese. I've had a couple of cool opportunities with both languages at work, whether it's answering a message or a phone call in one of those languages, but using it frequently. Some things that I've been trying to do for my maintenance routine were to do the Bible in 90 Days challenge. Now, that's hard enough if you're doing it in your native language because it's a lot to read. Sometimes I think there were more than 10 chapters, and I would try to listen to it in the morning, and just the way things were, I couldn't listen to it on my commute, but I tried to listen to it in the morning or when I got home, and I did well for about a month, but then after that, it was it got out of control because of course on weekends I would end up doing things and then just kind of pushing it to the side. But that was something that I tried to do. I would do about half of the day, half an hour of that in Portuguese and then half an hour of that in French or the other way around. And it was really good. It was very helpful for picking up some new vocabulary. It was something I was slightly familiar with depending on which book of the Bible I was on. So I had a little bit of a background, so I wasn't completely lost. And I thought it was a good idea in theory, and I think that maybe the Bible in a Year challenge would be better for that than Bible in 90 Days challenge, but it was still a cool thing to try out anyway, and maybe I'll pick that back up in the future. We'll see, but doing that was a little bit more stressful than fun to try to get that entire hour in every single day. But I would listen to the audio version of it, by the way. I wasn't reading it, I was listening to it as I was getting ready for my day. So after I would shower, I would just put it on as I was doing my hair, getting dressed, eating, all that kind of fun stuff. So I tried doing that. Not super successful. It was for a period of time, but then I had to change up my routine. And what I've been doing since then is trying to find YouTube channels in French and Portuguese to listen to, trying to find movies out there, trying to. There's some channels I have on my TV that I would watch primarily in French rather than Portuguese. I could look into some Portuguese channels, but I was watching from time to time some TV in French actually, and it was helpful. It definitely is. I can still understand things even though I'm not using the language as much, but I'm trying to come up with a more effective routine, not just for listening, but also for producing the language. And I did have an idea for that. I'm not going to talk about that in this update. I will tell you the other idea I initially had. I have it written down. My initial routine that I came up with did encompass all of those things. My goals were to write a notebook entry a week or text people, whether that was on Hello Talk or something else, so that I was writing or producing the language in some way. People recommended for maintaining a language just doing about 15 minutes of each language a day rather than, half an hour or an hour or more. So I initially said read Portuguese for 15 minutes, but then listen to French for 15 minutes. So if I was reading one, I would listen to the other so that the input was different rather than the same because I feel like that'll help me not mix it up because I'm not doing the same activity on the same day with both languages. Or, choose to use Memrise, which things have changed with Memrise since I came up with this schedule. And then, if I wasn't going to be listening in Portuguese or in French, then I would be reading in French while listening in Portuguese, if that makes sense. So, doing a different activity with the different languages. I wanted to join a 30-day speaking challenge, and I still plan on doing that. It's just that with the whole Polish course that I was testing out and then doing LangJam, I didn't want to have the 30-day speaking challenge on top of that, so I prioritized things a little bit differently in these first couple of months. And then, of course, talk to somebody for 1 hour a week. I have not been doing that. I know I kind of want to reconnect with some of my old language partners, even though they may not be on italki anymore, or the websites or apps that I used to use. So that was something that I had thought of, but haven't actually tried yet. LangJam was so much fun, and I'm glad that I participated, and I definitely look forward to participating again. And some of you were wondering how that went, and you may not be following me on Twitter or on Snapchat, which is where I updated, but yet you helped me find all these resources, so I wanted to give you an update on what that was like, kind of the final outcome. So you'll see videos from the first and second day, which I shared on both Snapchat and Twitter. Snapchat, I shared a little bit more about the resources that I chose to use and the whole process, whereas Twitter, you only saw the final product of what I studied that day. Now, what I didn't know was that Sandra actually does post kind of like non-mandatory goals that you can try to reach for each day. So even though we all came up with some goals together, and that main goal was to be able to introduce myself and talk about a variety of topics like family, age, nationality, work. I did follow her goals as well. Not all of them. I kind of chose one because she would give 3 a day. I would choose one and I would try to strive for that. Now, on Sunday, I did not really do anything. I had like one sentence because the truth is, it was really difficult for me to find Lithuanian resources. Even the ones that we found together, still they couldn't accomplish exactly what the goals were. So, without further ado, here are some of the videos that I made introducing myself and then doing a tongue twister in Lithuanian, which was really hard to do.
Labas, mano vardas Angela, aš kalbu angliškai, ispaniškai, prancūziškai ir portugališkai. Aš esu amerikietė ir man 24 metai. Ike! Geri vire, geroi, gara gera gerei.
I didn't spend all weekend studying for it because on Friday I worked until the early afternoon, and then also on Sunday I was not free until the early or late afternoon because I went to church with my family, and then we usually go out to eat after or have some kind of big meal together at home. And because of that, I didn't spend all my time studying. But the truth is, with a language challenge like this, especially a short one that only spans in a weekend, I signed up for this. This wasn't something that my school made me do back when I was in school. This isn't a work assignment. This was for fun, and I joined it because I thought it would be cool to learn about a language that I knew nothing about. And I didn't want to stress myself out. The point of it is not to stress yourself out. It's meant to be challenging, yes, but also fun. And it was fun. It was great to look for resources with you guys and have that little community during that time. It was also great to see what other people were studying for their Language Jam challenge. So if you guys haven't participated in it, and this is your first time hearing about it, you weren't part of the live stream that I did, or you haven't heard about it, you don't follow me on Twitter or Snapchat, or you just haven't heard of it, period, and this is the first time, I'll link that down below so you can check it out because it's a really cool project and I think that Sandra should be proud of it. And the next challenge will be in 3 to 4 months. She said that it's usually every 3 to 4 months, I believe. So that would put us in the summer, if I'm calculating correctly, sometime this summer. And I also believe that this next one will be Indigenous languages only, so I'm really excited about that as I've never studied an Indigenous language before. I think it's really fun to do, to take part in this Lang Jam challenge, to see what others are studying, to potentially find a new language that you wouldn't have thought of studying before, and then you realize, wow, I really want to continue with this. So that's about it for me. My updates on my language learning journey or my resolution to kind of come up with a routine, which, as you know, I'm still working on, as well as what happened with Lang Jam and what my experience was. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe if you want to see more videos related to language learning. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody who does not know about Language Jam, because if they don't know about it, then they may be missing out on a really cool event, opportunity, whatever you want to call it. It's so much fun. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!